Well, welcome back to Factorio MSX Gigabase, where the M and the SX stands for Marathon Tech Prices on SpaceX Extreme. We have done the first part of the SpaceX Extreme, launching 175 satellites. We did that in a single episode. We're probably on pause for the next part for some time, I would guess. Now, we are in the process of trying to roll out this little blueprint a couple of times, and the volume of resources required for it is so immense. I don't actually know why it's 503 furnaces, but never mind. It's so immense that I think my supply train will choke. So here I am about to break one of my cardinal rules. Don't do complicated combinator stuff live, because you're likely to screw it up. Well, we're going to risk screwing it up, and we are going to try and do something I think I've talked about in a previous episode where we got clogged once before, and that is this. The way this whole supply thing basically works is it has, at the outposts, you input a request. That request generates a one-tick pulse, it's called, to a local storage, so it stores the amount locally, and it gets broadcast across the green wire network, all the way back to here at the main base. It then gets stored in here. One of these things stores it, and it generates a signal for the supply train to come forward and get filled up. This generates a set of requests and a filter for the filter inserters, and there's the storage mechanism here, which is local as well. As the items get loaded on the train, the local storage gets counted down. The one at the outpost is local to the outpost, so it's not affected. It will count down when the train gets to the outpost and delivers the items. And basically the one at the outpost just turns on and off the station, so it's simply a matter of this train will go to a station if there is one that's open for it to go to, otherwise it sits here. So yeah, these are just simple set requests according to the wire, but if the wire says put 10 billion items in here, they just won't fit. And so you potentially have it loaded up with all sorts of things, but something different to what's in the filter. Actually wondering if I could tell it to, instead of just doing something generic, do I actually need a filter inserter here, or do we just pick up stuff? No, I think it would be too likely to overload if I change that. So I was just thinking maybe I change that just to a normal stack inserter, and then whatever's in here it will pick up and the request will drop off, but it could still be left with quite a lot of residual here, which I kind of don't want. We'd need more recycling, but it would stop. It would be like the simplest way of fixing this. The other way I was thinking was I put in a mechanism here for limiting the amount of any one item to 100 items. And that's relatively easy, because I would just basically have decider combinators. I would make parallel streams, basically. We'd connect up from here. And one of them would be if anything, or if each item is less than probably or equal to 100, then output each input count, so that filters it to just the items that are already less than or equal to 100. The other one would be if the items are greater than 100, 100. Then output the eaches that are greater than 100, but set them to 1, and then we just multiply all of these eaches by 100 and recombine them, which seems like a fairly simple and straightforward thing to do. I mean, if this was just a stack inserter, it definitely would not get clogged, but it would load stuff that we don't need. So maybe I'll trial this method. So let's finish off this one. Output eaches for the input count. Output eaches being 1. Arithmetic, which will connect from there. That should be eaches times 100. Output eaches. And then if we combine these two together, we should be back to where we were, and I can put a green wire back up there. The only thing is there any possibility of corruption across these things? I don't think so. I guess we'll just have to test it and see what happens. Alright, so there's our fix to try and enable it to be able to handle these absurdly huge requests. Now, next thing, we have power. Power! 350,000 solar panels have now been put down. I do believe I showed you last episode, and it hasn't changed that much, but there it is. That's pretty impressive. It's not nearly enough, but it's pretty impressive. I think each 100,000 is roughly 6 gigawatts. So 300,000 is about 18, 350,000 is about 21. You can only really rely on half when it's solar, because you only have, well, you've got the day-night cycle, so you're only getting the benefit for sort of half the time. In real life, it's more like a quarter, given how well, the sun works and the intensity during the day and blah blah blah. But that's beside the point. This isn't real life. This is Factorio. Factorio is way better than real life. So 21 gigawatts. To me, that is a siren saying, "Oi, what the hell are you doing with all of this expensive nuclear when you have got all of those gigawatts in solar?" So, nuclear, your days are up. Let's just put some of these things aside. Keep the bots, keep these, although I've got more than I need there, and those can go. Right, so yes, we are going to remove the nuclear. Guys, nuclear, just say no. I turned off that, that's interesting. Okay, so how are we going to do this? Well, the usual way. The bots are going to need as much charging as they can get. And then, yeah, we'll just go to town, all of it. Take those out. Take all of this stuff out. Actually, just be slightly wary that you don't take the power out. Take all of that out. Now, when you remove nuclear, the key is you need to remove the pipes. It's not the reactors that change things, it's the pipes where all of the cost lies. I've just realised that with this we'll never be able to put that back down. So we better be sure. Whoops, I didn't want to do that. Oh, let me just reconnect that power, because I do want the power to work so that we get benefit from that guy. Right. Go to town, bots. Go to town. None of this is required anymore. I must have caught that when I got the reactors, the heat pipe. I really do hope the devs are able to come up with a solution for nuclear at some point that makes it viable in a massive base to keep a decent amount of nuclear, because it is a lot more interesting mechanic than a massive field of solar, which quite frankly just gets a little boring after a while. But it is what it is. There is no option for a massive gigabase but to have a massive solar field as your power source at this point. Is there any point to keep those tanks? Probably not. And there probably is a cost, so goodbye tanks. And goodbye radar. Now, I'm not actually going to completely eliminate the nuclear industry, because obviously I still want nuclear bombs, and I will probably migrate all of the trains to using the nuclear fuel, because that will save on oil. But we won't be doing nuclear power anymore unless I grow the factory faster than my ability to plant down solar. In which case we could end up with power cuts, which we don't want either, of course. So, nuclear, goodbye. You've been a friend. You've served us very well. You are interesting to set up. But goodbye. I didn't really check UPS. I should probably have checked here. But whatever. It's less than whatever it peaked at when... I mean, we're only using 2 gigawatts of nuclear at this point anyway. So now we're using no gigawatts of nuclear. It's all solar, 1.4 terajoules of stored energy. That's pretty good. But no heat pipe remain untouched. Well, if we depowered here, no, we've networked, because the network is depowered. Yes, we need to reconnect the network here till I work out how I want this to go. There. Done. You are marked for removal, aren't you? Yep. But there's 4 bots somewhere. Is there any remainder up here? Yes, there is. Alright. Oh, I've decommissioned this lot accidentally as well. At least I'm saying it's accidentally. It was accidental. And we will need some more long poles. But we need our legs a little bit more for the moment. Here we go. Here are those guys. While they recharge, I'll have a sip. My drink actually coming down here is probably a better idea. So just wood. So yeah, it's not the end of uranium in this playthrough, but it is the end of nuclear power. Now, let's, just in case we want to ever try and revive this, we will place all of this product into local storage. There we go. Let's just run back to the make everything, get a few more long poles. Let's just turn that off. Long poles. Big poles. Long range poles. I'm not intending to reconfigure nuclear in this episode. There are some other things that we should do instead, but I am going to at least reconnect our operation up here. Has that done it? It seems to have. These bits aren't connected. No, you don't need one of those. You can have one of those just so that you're happy. There we go. It actually looks like I should probably pull up a little bit of these miners. And here, actually I don't have any more of those on me, so we'll just leave that alone. That's all good, but obviously, yes, we are going to want nuclear supplies delivered to appropriate places. Now, if I can remember where I put my gear, there it is. That was actually easier than expected, and it all fits, which is equally amazing. Let us get back here, let us get back out into the wilderness and see if we can get Big Bro online. We probably won't do it all this episode, but we will at least head in the right direction. I don't have any... I think we need to go to Landfill 2, and we'll countermand that order before we actually get to Landfill 2, so that we can proceed down to the Big Bro smelting stacks. Get a supply station running and get an order set up for the first one. That's basically the objectives for the remainder of this episode. Hopefully we can get past this. No, I really should fix it, shouldn't I? The way I've kind of been getting past these issues is simply to go over here and find an item that is sort of, well, like these are almost empty. They're just sitting there being annoying at the moment. Some of them anyway. 600, what are you? 2.1k. Oh, you can just go to iron 4 and refill. Down here I think with the other lowest, you can go to iron 6 and refill. You can go to iron 9 and refill. There you go. Once they've all moved, that will create a little bit of action. This will move up, this will move, oh, that will move up. This should still be blocking this one from coming up. No, it's not, but with a bit of luck there's enough room. No, it's going to block the way, isn't it? Or is it? And of course it was the row below me that moved first, so oh, one more. That could be enough. So that will be able to get up there. Might even get 2 up there. Plenty for this congestion to clear. Or enough for it to clear, let's say. It doesn't tend to actually hold around that long, so I mean really if we were three trains less in the total number that were coming here, even with this setup exactly as it is, it would work fine. But as I say, we're going to revamp that in the not too distant future. How are we going up here? Yes, there it does. All of this looks fairly good up to this point, but we are still working on quite a lot of stuff. That's good. Probably offline I will have to... Oh, no, 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 I don't want that stuff. Manual, let's get out of here before we load up on too much of that. Oh, it's not where I want to go either. So used to finding something else to do while the train is travelling that I forgot to stop it from carrying on this trip. Since I'm backseat driving, this is a slightly trickier proposition than there we go. Wiggle wiggle straight through here. Round the corner, there we go. Now, let's get back to where we were last episode. We have far too much junk on us. Let us transfer those into there. Oh, we're not going to need the nukes either, but let's grab those. Let's put the nukes in there. We hope we're not going to need the nukes. I did a bit of biter clearing as I was exploring places to put this, so that should be all clear. Red. I might just accept a few trees because I don't want the pathway clogged up with all that stuff. I think I'm going up the wrong path actually. The one that I need is the one that is over here. I'm going up the refueling path. No, wait a minute. That's not the one I want either. Let me just scroll out again. Yes, we do need to go up here. Alright, that's fine. I don't need to fill that one out. Back off the map view. Let's get our train. Head up here. I guess I better get back to normal scroll range so that you can see something. Dear, come on bots. I know it's hard, but you can do it. Now we were just waiting on that one to be cleared. Come on bots, this tree here, is it that hard? That's why you sometimes actually need to clear first. There you go. Now it will place. Sometimes they have great difficulty in resolving that. What seems fairly trivial to an observing human, but is not quite so trivial for a bot. We look like we are out of chain signals, but we have just refilled, so we should have tons in there. else? Rail. I'm out of rail. No, don't you go building bits of the main factory. I just want you building these things. Need to get a little bit closer. Do I have any more train? Oh no, it's building the wrong thing again. I think I need some more stations. They should be on here. They are. I have combinators. I might need constant combinators. Let's get a couple of those. Right, did you build out all of that for me? Hopefully. It's looking good. That actually looks like it's remembered the request. The only thing is, has that actually gone out on the system? No. It has not. We also need a bunch of construction bots. Let's say 1,000. Right. We're not getting it on green, probably because somewhere there is a breach, which is kind of expected. It is right here. I'm going to control it from up here, so I will turn this off until we have fixed it off. So green and red. Anywhere else? Yep, here. Now if you had wonderfully interconnecting train pieces, you could have all these rail wires all fit perfectly, but it's pretty hard to place a ginormous blueprint that is dependent on wires and also have all of your interconnecting pieces work perfectly. So yeah, that does stretch there, but it's already there. Why don't we just do a connection from there to there just to be sure, and a green one as well. What else have we got? I think I want to do the same thing here just to be sure. Okay, that's the main line. Right. If we get the red 2, 1 and the 3 beacons back at our supply stop, then we know that we have everything that we needed connected up, and calling a train should give us what we want. Fingers crossed. We need to rename the stations first though. So you're not that, because you won't work if you're that. You need to be called Outpost Supply. You need to be called Rubbish, because you're a rubbish stop. And you This would be steel 3, which would be iron smelting 3. Hashtag iron smelting 3, because this is actually the iron part of the whole operation. The steel, of course, is the bit down below. On. I don't see the 1, 2. Let's just see if that made it out into the wild. It did. So let's see what's happening with our supply train. It's moved down. It is trying to load green inserters. There are no requests greater than 100, so that part of the functionality worked just fine. 1.5, that's ridiculous, isn't it? How many did we actually require originally? 1.3 thousand. How come we're asking for 1.5 thousand? Is that what it's asking for? No, it says 1.3, but we have 700, so have I somehow screwed the countdown? No, 1.1. It seems to I seem to have doubled up on green inserters somehow. Never mind, hopefully the rest of it works okay. But anyway, I think we have probably done enough for this episode. Basically, I am going to give it a little bit of a nudge along to make sure it works, but the general idea is to get this up and running for well, to get this one built, and then to do exactly the same thing to this one. Bridge over this water, of course, so that we can you know, access it. Then we probably need to just keep rolling. I know we're going to need a third copper. There's so much copper over here, and we've carefully not blocked it, that we should probably set up one of these for copper over here. We need to then connect all of the stations so that we're accessing these iron deposits. The steel, of course, doesn't, because it will just be fed from this iron. Lots to do, and then we need at least 2 more iron stacks. We need another oil, but it's going to need another revision actually. I've been thinking about it, and this one up here is very plastic dominated. I need to have a alternate that's very concentrated on rocket fuel, and if we do that, I think we can get away with less of these total rather than the number that we have at the moment. So that's kind of where I'm heading there. I need to keep laying down solar panels. Let's just see how we are going with energy now that we have cut it back. We are during the day, and it's no problem. We'd have to look during the night to see if there's any issue. I'll keep an eye on it. Maybe we'll catch up with that later. But anyway, thanks so much for joining me. Hope you enjoyed the show, and look forward to seeing you next time. Bye bye for now.